I've come out here to this waterfall to show you how to shoot waterfalls. You can shoot them for two different basic effects. You can shoot them for motion blur in the water. That's that soft, flowy look that you see very often. Or you can use a high shutter speed and try to freeze the water so you get droplets frozen in the air. I'm going to try to show you both of those options today. It's going to be a little difficult to get the water to freeze as it is very foggy and dark out here today. So getting a high shutter speed is going to be a challenge, but it should be really easy to get a soft, flowy look. The equipment you're going to need is some sort of basic DSLR, although in truth if you have manual controls or some form of control over a point and shoot, you may be able to do the same. You need some sort of lens. I prefer usually wider lenses for this. Your kit lens is probably perfect. And biggest thing is you got to have it on some sort of support for the long exposure. If you're trying to freeze the water, you can get away without any sort of support. You can just use a really high shutter speed, it'll freeze the water. But you will not be able to get the soft, flowy look of the water flowing down the waterfall without some sort of sturdy support for potentially several seconds of exposure.
Now that you've found yourself a nice waterfall to shoot, or fountain, or any sort of flowing water, you could use your kitchen sink if you wanted to play with it. Set your camera on its tripod and power it on. I know you're still using the auto mode, and so we're going to take you off of that right away. Turn the knob past auto all the way to the S for shutter priority. And this is going to let us choose the shutter speed and let the camera do all the work to figure out how to get that shutter speed. Because when you're dealing with the water, whether you're trying to freeze it or whether you're trying to make it flow, it's all about the shutter speed. Now we need to tell the camera exactly what we want it to do. I'm going to use the LCD so you can follow along. Feel free to look directly at your controls or through the viewfinder. As we spin the dial, since we're in shutter priority mode, we're adjusting the shutter speed. The camera is picking the most appropriate aperture. I want to freeze the water first. A shutter speed of 1/400th of a second should do. So I'm going to spin the dial until I reach 1/400th of a second shutter speed. Unfortunately, I'm getting an error, LO. That means that my shot's going to be underexposed. My lens is not fast enough to open up to an aperture that allows me to get that shutter speed. I'm going to have to adjust the ISO manually. I take it up to ISO 800. This should get me the shutter speed that I'm looking for. And as you can see, I now have 1/400th of a second at f8. This is perfect. I take my shot, and as you can see, we have nice frozen water. Now I want a slow shutter speed so that I can get that silky water flow effect. The first thing we need to do is take our ISO back to whatever our base ISO is. In this camera's case, it's ISO 100. Since we need a long exposure anyways, we might as well get the best quality we can. And the best quality comes with your camera's base ISO. Now I'm going to dial in a slower shutter speed. This varies depending on how fast the water is falling. Perhaps a 1/15th of a second, a 1/10th of a second, or even a full second or a couple of seconds. This particular lens's maximum aperture is f36. So I have 1/3 of a second at f36. This will definitely give me a soft, flowy sort of waterfall, as you can see here. Again, there are two basic ways to shoot a waterfall. You can shoot it with a long exposure to get the silky flow effect. Or you can shoot it with a fast shutter speed in order to freeze the droplets in time. The choice is entirely up to your artistic eye in how you would like to portray the waterfall.